Hello everyone, welcome to this video. I don't know if I'll, continue making very many videos or not. I'm just kind of doing this for funsies to see how it goes. I run another channel about mice, but most of my time, my free time is spent drawing and stuff. Here's the name, Salute Studios. I'll probably be publishing this under that channel name. But yeah, my name's Brooke. I'm not a professional artist. I don't really make any finished products at the moment. I want to someday. But as of now, it's just not a thing. Most of what I do is just doodling, coming up with my own characters and ideas. Right now I'm just getting warmed up. Had a long day. Working. I'm a janitor for my day job, so I spend my days cleaning. And then I have a bunch of fancy mice, so I also spend a lot of my time taking care of them. I'm a breeder, so I do a lot of pairings and planning out litters that I want to get, planning out genetics and stuff. So that fills up my time, but then in my free time at night, when I'm visiting coffee shops or relaxing, I'll pull out the sketchbook. I actually have a sketchbook pretty much everywhere I go. Often this big one, but I have a few smaller ones, just so that if this one can't fit in the bags, I have those ones available. What to draw? Usually I don't think much about what I draw. A lot of it is... I'm gonna move that stuff. A lot of it is just sketches and doodles. I do mostly animals, actually. I feel like that's the opposite of what a lot of artists do. But I'm just not much of a human artist. Humans are fine. I've got one right there. But I don't really enjoy drawing humans all that much. If I do draw them, it's because I feel like I need to draw humans. But otherwise, the stuff I really enjoy is my animals. I also do code stuff. This is my personal code. You will not be able to crack that, I don't think, because it's not just a code. But if you want to try, go ahead. For any code fanatics out there. A lot of birds, as you can see. Some poetry. More code stuff. This is some logo design. I do a few art projects, I guess, for other people. That's a musical artist that's local to my area. And eventually I'd like to make finished stuff under this name. These are all my chickens. Alright. Back to it. Now that I've looked through those, I kind of want to draw my chickens. Right now, art for me... once upon a time, art for me was more about, like, a future career. I was one of those kids that, I grew up watching all those really big channels, Drawing with Waffles, dang, it's been so long. Was it Bailey J who always had the Copics? I don't know, but Cynic's Design, Jake Parker, way back when, Aaron Blaze, did I already say Draw with Jazza? And then Doodle Date, Casey Golden, a whole bunch of other artists. I'd watch a lot of their stuff. Watch all of the like animations from the festivals and the schools when they came out on YouTube, and I'd be very inspired by those. And I've always loved like art and comic books and graphic novels and stories. Always loved them. And when I was younger, I read a lot more when I was younger. I feel like everybody read a lot more when they were younger. But after graduating high school especially, I don't know, real life kind of hit me. I never stopped drawing, but I realized partway through high school that like a career, like an animation career especially, that's something I used to really want to do. I used to want to be an animator. I realized a career in animation would probably not work out because I drew so much in high school that I actually ended up getting a bit of an overuse injury. I filled up one of these bad boys a month. And my technique was not good. You can probably see I held my pen weird. You're supposed to hold it like this, but you know, we're all kind of silly. Do our own thing. But yeah, so when I got the overuse injury, I never stopped drawing even then. I just switched to using my non-dominant hand. And I'm not as good with this hand, but I can still do enough to get by. I just can't talk as easy when I'm using it, but yeah. So I never stopped drawing. That was never allowed. But my goals with drawing definitely changed when I realized that one, it was not a very sustainable career. Lifestyle-wise, it just wasn't gonna work out for me, probably. Because the lifestyle of an animator, as I'm sure we've all heard in the artistic community, is not exactly a healthy one. It's a beautiful one. And I love animators and I love what they've made for us, but it's not a healthy lifestyle. Nor is it a secure market in which to work, especially now. I'm actually going to switch this to the opposite side. So for that reason, I decided I would at least not become an animator, and I would not aim for art to be my main income. Which to some, especially if you're a new artist like I was back in high school, that may sound like copping out, but I actually think, so non-dominant hand, you can see it's not perfect, but I've got the skills. If I worked at it, I could probably do better. Honestly, I like that one better than this one. But once you get older, you kind of realize that by making it so art doesn't have to be your main thing, but still choosing a lifestyle that allows you to make art, you actually make it easier to make art that you love. And I mean, like, working in the industry, you will make art that you love, and there will be opportunities to do that kind of thing, but a lot of your time doing art is also going to be spent doing a lot more busy work. And if you want to make anything, busy work is kind of like just part of the deal. Like, I've been looking into making stickers recently, because I think that would be fun. But making stickers requires so many little logistical and technical things. Busy work. Making a book. Like, for me, I'm not very good at technology. And one thing that is kind of required when you're like designing a book is figuring out formatting and where you're going to want all the words to go on the page, and what company, or if you're going to self-publish. You know, there's so many logistical things to figure out. So anytime you're going to be doing something finished and making a product with your art that's like consumable, that you can sell and make money off of, it's going to require less art and more busy work and non-art related things. So in all actuality, if making art is your goal, then a career in art can sometimes make it so that you do less art, depending on what career other than art you might go into. So, honestly, I think what matters most is just choosing a lifestyle and a career in general that allows you in your free time to do art, because no matter what, your free time is still going to be the time where your art comes to life, like your art. Because there's a difference between like what you make for a product and what you make for yourself and with purpose. So I do want to make books, and I want to make stickers, as I said, but those are like side things, you know, it's not my career. I'm a janitor right now. I probably will be for as long as it's feasible, because it's actually great. It's pretty quiet during the day. There's a lot of just rote tasks that I can do. It's not as intensive as some other blue-collar jobs, but it still keeps me moving. So I stay active, which helps me be healthy. And I have a lot of time to think during the day, to come up with ideas and daydream and listen to videos and books and music and stuff that inspires me. So I really like it. It's fun. And I get to like look at machines and stuff. And one thing, like, I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen like Jake Parker's art or anybody who does like mech stuff. I have never understood like the machinery or how they draw machines, and I still don't, honestly. I still am not much of a technology person when it comes to drawing either. But I think I understand it better now, to the point where if I at least put in the thought, I could draw something that made logistical sense, because I deal with boiler rooms. I deal with machinery. Like, one thing I do every day is I clean the floors with a T7 machine. And I understand all the basic parts of the T7 now. T7, for anybody who doesn't know, is like a floor mopping machine. And because I've done maintenance on it and maintained it, I have a pretty decent understanding of how it's built. And I can at least kind of draw it out in a believable way. The little seat, gas pedal, little wheel. There's a control panel up here. Then there's like a giant scrubber on the bottom that's attached to this thing, and it's got a whole bunch of wires going to it. And then there are these little scrubber pads, and this squeegee like lowers down, and then you've got the wheels. So it's kind of like that. Anyways, I can do sketches like that now, which I could not do before because of my job. So living actually, honestly, and doing stuff besides art for my daily life inspires my art. And that's something that I've learned. When I was younger in high school, I thought if I didn't become like a professional in an industry, I wouldn't have the chance to make something that could make a big difference. Or like I wouldn't be able to learn as much. And it's true that I don't, like, I still don't understand how to use like programs and stuff. I mean, I've got Procreate on my iPad over there. So I can at least do a little bit of digital art. And I've dabbled in a few different programs and stuff, but definitely not nearly as much experience or know-how as I would if I was in like a more professional field. And storyboards are not something I'm like, I do for fun, like little thumbnails and story progressions when I have my own comics, but all that technical stuff I definitely have less knowledge of. But I mean, I feel like I could learn more via YouTube if I wanted to. And I've still managed to fill up a sketchbook at least every 3 or 4 months in my adult life. And sure, it's mostly with like messy sketches and stuff, but I'm improving little by little, constantly. I'm coming up with stories and ideas and characters. Like, here, I'll do a messy sketch of one. This is Stilton. He's a carpet installer in a little bit of a... It's kind of a slightly depressing story, but his country, his area, I want to call it his colony because he's a mouse. I'm still not sure on all the names of logistical things, but it got taken over by cockroaches, and they're like sentient cockroaches. Like all of the creatures in this world are like anthropomorphic. They got brains on their shoulders, and they're like prissy, sassy, but very domineering cockroaches. Anyways, I won't go too much into it, but let's just say he's got a little bit of a love story going on. And then Algie, he's a librarian adventurer yeti. Honestly, he doesn't really have a book or like a story that he goes with. I just kind of draw him for fun in my sketchbook. He's a little sketchbook explorer. Man, that's very messy. I haven't drawn him in a long time. There you go, bud. One thing I've gotten quite good at drawing is my mice. I draw them so often. I also have 4 cats. So I draw a lot of cats. And you may notice I'm drawing very fast and very messily. That's what I usually do when I'm doing more like idea sketching and just relaxing. I like to just get ideas out on the page. And I do finish stuff on occasion, but honestly not as often as I should. That's one thing that I do want to work on, because even though like art is not my main, and by the way, I am rambling here. This is just me thinking and having a fun time, relaxing. I'm trying to make just whatever I want. I don't want to make something professional or finished with this. I just want to have a discussion about art and chill. And I figured I might as well record something because it's fun to chat about. But yeah, even though like art isn't my career though, not officially right now at least. It's not something I want to pursue for the sake of making money. If I make money through it, that would be great because it would make it easier to do it. But that's like the main reason I'd want to make money through it, is because like right now, I just do it in my spare time. I don't have much time or money to dedicate to learning about it because, you know, I'm adulting. And especially nowadays, adulting is expensive. But yeah, with all that in mind, I do want to make finished stuff, and I want to find a way, even though it's hard and I don't have a lot of time or money or resources, mostly time, I want to find a way to make it so I can make some finished products. Specifically books and stories. I want to get something out there so that all of the little stories and characters that I've got, that I've worked on, I've sketched out over time, aren't just in my sketchbook and in messy, scrawled out thoughts, but are instead like, I don't know, in the pages of a book that other people can enjoy. Because I do have some stories that I've got ideas for. And, I mean, this is kind of the hard thing for me, actually. It's like both the awesome thing and the nerve-wracking thing. I feel like my style and the stories that I'd want to tell are actually pretty weird. They're not... I've never been one... And I like fan art. Like, don't get me wrong, I love it, and I think people should make it for sure. But I've never been one to really enjoy drawing stuff in other people's styles. Every time I try, I end up just taking like a couple things and then falling back into drawing things how I want to. And like fan art, every once in a while I'll do it, but I usually have to force myself and intentionally choose to. Because I just prefer my OG stuff. It just comes more naturally. So I've got a lot of original stories. The scary part of that, I mean, it's good for one thing because the world needs original stories and original characters and designs and unique things it hasn't seen before. There's great value in fresh things and ideas, but the scary bit and the nerve-wracking bit is the fact that people have a very hard time often with new things. And it's not just because of the fear of the unknown, it's also because people just don't understand it at first. Like, I don't know, like think of the very first time you've seen a new word in a book. Even if that word is a real word, and it has meaning and purpose and value and a history, when you first see that word, it's not going to mean anything to you. You're not going to understand it, and it's not going to be able to do its job of communicating to you because you don't have the context needed to understand it. So my art and my stories, I feel like it's going to be the same way with a lot of the new-ish ideas. When people see those new things for the first time, regardless of how much thought or intention or value was put into them, because people might not have been exposed to those ideas, they're not as likely to impact people, to stick, to have value initially. And, you know, that's something I have to keep in mind when making something that is more unique. And for anybody out there who's making something that's a bit unique, that's something to keep in mind is when people first see it, they might not like it. And that's not because it's not good or valuable, it's because it's new and they don't have the language, the context needed to understand it. And that's, I think, one of the big benefits of working in the industry is you're working off, especially if you're working with like a company, you've got their brand behind you, you know? You've got their name giving support to your ideas. But if you're just making stuff on your own, shouting out into the void, and it's just your ideas against the world with no context, that leaves your audience with very little, like with a very shaky foundation for understanding and seeing the value in your art initially. They won't know why they should trust you, what your intentions are, what your creations mean. They won't know why they should care, and they might not even understand what your story is when they first see it. I mean, I think of all the times I've started a new book from a new author, and it's taken me like the first couple chapters to get warmed up to their style. I think it's kind of like that, where, I don't know, I guess I've just got to figure out how to either A, get my stuff out so much that people are exposed to it enough that they know it, just eventually, or B, honestly, B is probably going to be the ideal. I find a way in the stories that I create to make them so they seem valuable enough from the get-go for people to put the effort into trying to understand the visual language that I speak in. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how much I want to try right now. So I guess, at least for the short time being, I'll try option A and just start making stuff and trying to just throwing stuff at a wall and seeing what sticks. We've got a mouse, a rabbit, and a feline-esque thing. I wonder if I could do a lizard in this style. Let's see. What's a good lizard? Lizards are one of my least favorite things to draw, which is why I'm thinking of drawing one. Drawing what you don't like is a good idea. Why don't I like drawing lizards, you ask? I'm not sure. Something about their shape just bothers me. Oh no, it's a turtle. Turtle lizard? I don't know. Okay. Random tip for me, the moment that you draw something that you don't like or that doesn't fit your goal, don't try to fix it. That's why I use a pen. This is just a general smart tip. Just move on. Try again. Although, you know, that could be a cute turtle if I finished it. But it's definitely not a lizard. Unless it's a really frickin' sad lizard that's having a very hard time. Yeah, that's something. Alright. Oh, lizard. Lizards have ear holes. Lizards have eyes. And their eyes blink. Unless we're talking about geckos. Lizards' mouths are weirdly long. Lizards have noses. Lizards have throat pouches and lips. And their heads end, and then their legs are frickin' on the side of their frickin' bodies. Maybe this is why I don't like them. Honestly, I just need to study their anatomy more. Because, like, I can draw a lot of other, even reptiles, fine. But frickin' put a stupid lizard. I shouldn't hate on them so much. I think part of it is I also just don't like taking... Okay, I've volunteered at a reptile facility before. That's a failure. I feel like I need a reference for this. I guess we're getting serious about it tonight. Whatever. See, guys, this is why I like doing, like, for fun sketches, because then eventually, as I'm going, I'm like, I don't know, I get inspired to do actual work to get better. And this is just for funsies. As I said, I'm not studying lizards for anything important. I guess part of my problem is I might be generalizing, but I feel like even without generalization, they're all... You know what? That might help. It looks like inward turned toes might be better than outward turned toes. A lot of them, unless they're gripping something, have their toes turned inwards. I was kind of going for monitor. Here, don't mind me looking up. This video is going to be unedited and very chill. I'm not going to bother with anything. It's just going to be me trying this out, so feel free to skip to whenever it gets interesting again. You know what, let's just choose a random pose. I'm not going to show you the reference in case it's copyrighted or something. So you can just guesstimate. This guy's fun. It's a monitor lizard. We've got this fancy... This all back here, I know for a fact, is like a muscle to the jaw. Their jaws are insane. Monitor lizards? Oh my gosh. I've met a few in person. And they were some of the animals at the room that I was just like, you know what? I will let you do you. I will mist you. I will make sure that you are taken care of as far as your basic needs, but I'm not gonna bother you. So I didn't handle them all that much. Other people handled them more because they didn't value their arms. Okay, they're not that bad, but also they kind of are because a couple people did get chomped on. And they're not, like, it's not an injury that you're going to be permanently... It's not like getting bit by an alligator or anything. Frick that. That mouth is ugly as butts. Don't mind that. But... oh. Anyways. Oh, my goodness. I amuse myself sometimes. Where was I? Alligators, right. Alligators, like, you know, death rolling. That would suck. But monitor lizards, they've just got teeth and jaws that are very powerful. They will cause some damage. Let's see. The neck on that guy was cool, but what about... That's a skink. Horned nose... No, that guy's weird looking. They're all weird looking. So, like, rounds out. Nostrils, eye sockets. The thing is, they all just... I don't know. Maybe I should just, like, take some time and suffer through studying a bunch of lizards. It looks like the ear hole's always at the back of the skull. That's fascinating. I wonder where the ear canal is that goes... Actually, you know how you can see through lizards' ears half the time? I wonder if... Okay, so their ear hole wouldn't go directly back into the skull. It would go through the back of the skull. I need to research that anatomically. That's very curious. Okay, and then throat pouch comes off of the midsection of the jaw right here. So the jaw goes all the way back to here, but the throat pouch starts right here. And then actually dips in. Fascinating. One thing I do like about lizards is the fact that they are so weird. I feel like if I did draw them more, I could be inspired for some very fun creature designs. If I was able to get it down. There are a whole bunch of other anatomies that I, like animals that I have learned how to draw, that I didn't used to know how to draw. And all of those animals have helped me. Like birds have been the bane of my existence for years. And now I actually kind of like birds. They're kind of fun. Once again, look at that. The ear hole's freaking right at the base of the skull. Cool. And the jaw, the throat pouch leads off of the jaw. The jaw goes up right here behind that. Okay, so I've at least learned something about the jaws and the basic anatomy of how all those things connect. But I think... Okay, I'll just look at legs real quick, and then I'm gonna call it good on lizards, because they annoy me. Okay. This guy's toes. The thing is, I've handled lizards in real life. I've interacted with them. Most of the time after I've interacted with an animal, they get a lot easier to draw, and they did get easier. Like, this attempt is better than the attempts I would have done before, specifically with my ear placement. Like, you can see, it's not terrible, but it's not stylized with knowledge. You gotta know the rules before you can break the rules, and I don't know the rules all the way, so that just looks bad. But let's see. If I consider the spine, hips, legs coming off there, man, they're like, I think part of it is just like their muscles don't do the same stuff as ours. Like, most of the time with mammals, like any mammal's going to be relatively similar to anything that you've seen before. A cat, like there will be some modifications for sure, but it's mostly in like the length and size and like the general utility of things. But like, things are facing the same direction. Most of the muscles work in similar ways and do similar things. But then you have these guys, and their arms are rotated sideways. Although, if you think about it, evolutionarily speaking, this body plan came first. So maybe we're the ones who have the weird body plan that doesn't make sense, and I'm just being silly. In the grand scheme of things, that's probably more accurate. You know what, little guy? You look terrible, but you have helped me gain wisdom, so I appreciate you. And if anybody out there is wondering how they can get better at drawing animals or things that you don't know how to draw, it's by doing drawings like this. This is how you get better. And you want to do about 1 million of those for everything that you want to get better at drawing. And maybe after 1 million of them, you'll get there. That's how I develop like a stylized version of everything that I draw. Is I just draw the same stupid thing 80 million times from as many possible directions as I can. Ooh. Like this is from the top little beardy. And I can see that. See, I'm already coming up with some simplifications. I can't even see part of his limb from here, which is convenient for me. I can see that the leg overlaps the main portion of the body here. Should probably make it look like he has toes. And the bottom of the leg almost looks like whatever bones are in here are like wider or more split apart. And then there's a muscle group going that way. And then his tail almost feels like it goes over that. Cool. Alright. I feel like I've learned something here. Now I'm going to try drawing a lizard without reference. From just the top view again. We're going to go for generic. We're not going for a specific breed. I guess I'm referencing my own work. That counts. We're gonna make him a daytime lizard. And I'm gonna give him... Ooh, I think it would be tucked in even more than that. I don't know how accurate that is. I didn't study a monitor lizard from the side, but their tails are huge. I think the leg would come out there. That at least looks more lizardy than that lizard. Like, that lizard's leg didn't look lizardy at all. That looks slightly more lizardy. So I think I have become a better artist over the course of this. And now I'm gonna draw something I like again to recover from that emotional suffering. Yeah, lizards are annoying. Hopefully that was at least somewhat interesting. If you're a new artist, maybe you can learn from that process. If you're an artist, I haven't talked to artists in person since high school very much at all. I don't know how that's happened. It's probably because I'm a janitor who stays at home all day, and the only communities I participate in are animal communities. So if you have thoughts that are art related, I would love to hear them so that I can be in a world that is not just straight up. I don't know, everything else I've been participating in. I've kind of missed the art world. I don't know why I stopped. Like, I haven't even watched very many art YouTube videos as I used to. I used to watch so many. Used to be my favorite side of the internet, but I don't know, I guess I just had other stuff come up. I'm glad I still drew, though. I'm glad I've still progressed. Because even in the time that I've spent not aiming to do any career in art, I've improved a lot. To the point where, like, at this point, I currently feel relatively comfortable, like, making commissions for people. So everyone's, like, I don't take them very often, because I am still working on the whole selling art thing. I sold art back in high school a lot more than I do now. But I'm starting to take commissions every once in a while. Starting to, like, let myself figure out more technical things. Because I feel like my art skills have progressed to the point where it's worth knowing technical skills so I can produce something with what I make. Because I like what I draw. It's weird. And I don't know what to compare it to at this point. There are a few artists that I can think of. Like, some artists that I love that have inspired at least small aspects of my style are like, Sam Bragg. She did, what was the name? It's the Unicorn series. She also draws, I think her current series is the Wyvern one. And then on Instagram she does, like, the seasons. And then I also really like, Ben, I forgot his account is Mosquito Suck, his art account. And I like his expression specifically. Some of the anatomy stuff on his stuff I personally don't like as far as my style goes, but I love his expressions. Like, I don't know. Are there any expressions in here that are kind of inspired by what he does? I feel like this thing right here where I add, like, snarl lines more often, that's kind of been inspired by some of the stuff that he does. I really love in... Oh, I wish I had... Names are not my strong suit. But there are a few artists. I love, like, the simplicity of Casey Golden's stuff. Like, how much shape language there is. Seeing her style and how amazing it looked, even though it was so simple, is one thing that made me more comfortable drawing these. Because I used to draw, like, really fun, like, simple characters like this all the time. And you've seen a lot of them. Seeing her stuff and how successful it was made me more comfortable and confident doing it. A Budgie's Life, I love the storytelling. I love webtoons. Webtoons are great. Miss Abbott and the Doctor is another comic that I really enjoyed. I don't draw humans very often, but I feel like the story and the format was very inspiring in that, because the author of that story, Maripaz Villar, she does very simple stuff. She doesn't color anything. It's all like pencil sketches, but the story is just exceptional, and the story really speaks for itself. And then I love, this is like the opposite Lackadaisy. I've been reading it since, like, forever ago. Back when I was, back in middle school, actually. I was, like, 13 when I started reading it. It was forever ago. 2015, I think, is when I started reading it. And, I've always appreciated, wow, what is up with you, dude? I feel like this would make more sense. Even that, though. Here. Let's see if we can't. The silhouette's kind of interesting. I wonder what would lead... I don't think a bird could even do that. A bird's back is, like, impossibly straight. And then they've got, like, a keel. And then their neck can do a whole bunch of stuff. But this portion of a bird is, like, inflexible. I own chickens. Yeah, it's not moving. So this hunched thing at the back, like, their hips ain't doing that. So I think that's just a nope. But we can lean it all the way back and have it hunched at the neck. And if we round it out, am I considering anatomy in a bird that is obviously and completely and entirely not anatomically correct? Yes. Is that silly? Probably a little bit. Ooh, 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 ooh. Hello. That might be something. Okay. Don't mind me just thinking thoughts. Don't know exactly what. I think this is the closest one up here. So, rounded all the way. Keep the head slightly higher up. Wing further out. I think this wing would be right here. Interesting. Well, there's something there. This style is very much... Oh, I do that off camera. This style is very much not... it's not, like, correct at all. The eyes are on the wrong side of the head. But I like to play around with it like I would an emoji to capture an expression in a way that... I don't know what the rules of the style are. There are rules, though. I'm just not sure. But I think to finish it out, I'm probably going to doodle just a little bit more after I turn off the camera for myself. But to finish this off, I will do something very random. Try to do something new. I've totally forgotten what I was saying before this, so apologies if I was saying something interesting. This bird stole my brain. For this last thing, though, let's add some fun patterns and details, because we've mostly just been doing gestural stuff. What kind of... Let's go for a relaxed, rabbit-inspired eye. I doubt anybody will see the rabbit in this, but I owned rabbits for a while. And, like, rabbits, deer, that kind of vibe is what I get from that. Let's go in that same direction for the nose. Actually, do I know of any prey species that... I guess... I might regret that, but... No, actually, I like that. Yeah, I like that. Sweet. And then we're gonna give it a very long neck. And I'm gonna turn the neck this direction. And right here is looking like where my trapezius is the muscle that comes off the back on mammals that leads into like the shoulders and shoulder blades. My trapezius is right here. We're gonna stick with the long theme. Give this little guy some long limbs. There we go. A little bit of muscle to support that mass. There we go. Okay. And ideally, I would actually like to pull the back out and hunch it this way. Makes it awkward with the page divide, but... Yeah. We're gonna make the tail go off the page. It's getting a little bit messy down here, but... So, twisting. this direction. This little dude. Let's see. I feel like the upper limbs would match functionally speaking, but they don't really match the aesthetic of the creature. Going down. Now at this point we kind of turn. Tail, I think, has to pull in some of the theme from the head. I almost feel like this guy would have like a thin tail that like branched into big. But I'm not sure. It would have to be like that thin. And by the way, this is usually how I invent new creatures, and then if I like them, I draw them over and over again, and I keep on adjusting them until they look like what I want. So you may or may not see this guy again, depending on whether or not I like the design. And then this is the spine coming down here. So the spine wraps around, comes down here, so the other limb would be here. I'm just going to make it so it's stepping up like that. So I don't know exactly what this animal's doing. I actually feel like this limb, yeah, based off the position of this other limb would actually probably be back here and be branched like this rather than right here. So we're going to fully block that out because that wouldn't make sense. That placement. You see, you gotta consider the shoulder blades in all this. That is not where the shoulder blade would be. Okay, so shoulder blade is right here on this one. And since the back spirals and turns right here, the other shoulder blade would be right here, which means my elbow would be coming off right here. And the foot would more likely be back here, going at this direction, like that. Yeah, a little dew claw for this guy. That's not perfect, but that's more accurate at least. Slightly more accurate. Because even fantasy creatures can have should be at some point constrained by like the basic rules of the universe, like gravity and physics and continuity. There's only so much that suspension of disbelief can do for you. But anyways, that was a little creature design session / doodle session for you, so you can see where we started. These messy little guys. Moved on to this, started to get a little bit better. Got into some more character related stuff, some more shape language. Moved on to even more shape stuff. Kind of played around with some concept things, played around with the style. Then we got explorative. Ended up trying to design it or learn how to draw a new thing that we don't know about yet. Did some studies, slowly improved. Then we tried to draw our own version of that based off of what we'd researched without a reference. And then we moved on to recovery, cool down stuff to help us recover. And as you can see, this guy compared to, like, yeah, I feel like he just looks very nice. And then some more birds. And then we decided to try a new pose in a style that we've already done, but trying to capture a new idea within that style that we didn't capture before. And then we invented something completely new that doesn't exist for funsies. So, with that, I'm going to call it a day. It is, I think, May 15th. There we go. So that is all for today. This will probably mostly just be for me, but if you made it to this point in the video, who the frick are you? Either I became super famous, or you're just a really chill guy. So, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for visiting and watching, and enjoying, hopefully, what I create. And I wish you luck on any of your creative endeavors as well.